And to help us unpack this conversation is somebody who, if you're a Zimbabwean, you will recognize as a veteran of the Zimbabwean arts industry. He's a well-known musician, an artist, but now we add entrepreneur and philanthropist to that long CV that you know, Mr. Q Montana. The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe has banned inbucks until they regularize their licensing to reflect that it's pretty much a remittances company. What's your take on this? Because it's come and taken the market by storm. Why do you think that's the case?
Look, I think it was a good initiative by Inbucks, by Simbisa rather, to introduce Inbucks. It made life easy for a lot of people, when we are experiencing, challenges with our financial sector, right? But what I always say is that when you're doing business, rules are rules. You have to stick to the regulations. I think it was expected. If other players in the industry are adhering to the rules, I think everyone should just. So I was not surprised really when I read that. I knew it was going to come to that. But look, they're still in dialogue, so I think it's something that they can easily fix.
So there's been double billing of certain transactions in South Africa by Flutterwave.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you think? This smells like fraud.
Well, it doesn't look good on Flutterwave, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I think it's something that which is a downside to using technology in business.
Yeah.
I've noticed, besides Flutterwave, sometimes when you're doing transactions, you get an SMS later, and then it's telling you that you've paid again. There are always these loopholes with using technology. That's why software is always updated. But then there's another side too, where businesses can take advantage of that and blame it on the software. Because they'll just say it's the system and things like that, and you don't have a way of checking from the system itself because you're not part of that system. So I think there's a good side to us using technology when transacting. But then there are those dangers, which unfortunately we don't have control over.
Yeah, it's a very good point. We don't have control.
But it's a big blow on Flutterwave because, once you break people's trust in business, it's very difficult to retain it.
Exactly. Their version of accounts, the Zanzibar Tourism Board had to come out with a statement about them investigating this. Then the publicity it exploded. And I mean, it was the conversation for that day across Africa.
I think as a business, especially if you're into hospitality, that's why it's called hospitality. You're different from people in construction, because if you're in hospitality, you have to know the things that are vital in that industry, right?
Yeah.
So taking into account whatever happens to a guest is very important. In fact, prioritizing any issue that is raised is very important if you are in the hospitality industry. So what you see now is that that lady from Nigeria, she just aired out her concerns. She had videos, she had proof. They should have taken that very seriously. Even if it was an allegation which was not so true, still because she was a guest, they should have, tried to salvage the situation before it got out of hand. But because now it's seeming like they were negligent, of the whole issue. And in as much as they are now trying to do damage control, the damage is done already.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have done that. In fact, what they should have done is to give a good service, so that she will actually tell people that I had a very nasty experience, but now this hotel did something really great for me. They assisted me and things like that. Their reviews were going to go up. It's business.
Netflix was riding a very big high during the lockdowns, and it seems to be coming down, and the business model is shaky now. What do you think? What do you think is the next way for how we consume entertainment?
Probably it's also the insurgence of new platforms. There's been a strong influx of new, video on demand platforms. Remember, people realized that, Netflix is making money, and people were bored, during the lockdown period because they had nothing to do. So if I watch a whole season on Netflix and I'm done, then I need to look for the next thing to watch, right? So it could be other factors. Yes, what they're saying could be right, that people are sharing accounts. People always look for loopholes in any system. So they should fix that system. But at the same time, you've had in a rise in other platforms. My company is introducing one as well, a video on demand, platform. I know a friend of mine who's introduced Play Africa. I know so many, So it was inevitable. Whenever people see opportunities, people grab opportunities. People are now getting in the gaming industry. Before then, people just thought, it's just PlayStation. It's just, but now people are now developing games because they are seeing it as a viable industry. So when you have been monopolizing an industry for a long time and you start getting a bit of competition, that's always uncomfortable. And you always have to find the reason. But I think they should just adapt. Every business has to evolve, so they should just evolve to the next thing.
It's time for Netflix evolution. Let's talk about your iteration as an entrepreneur. You are the founder of Monties Empire, and there's quite a number of businesses within Monties Empire. Let's talk about founding Monties Empire, the businesses that make up Monties Empire, and the work you're doing as an entrepreneur.
Okay, great. So I started Monties Empire in 2009. Over the years, we introduced a lot of projects along the way. Now we have about 10 business projects that we are running. And, like I was saying, that over, the years we've evolved. At the moment, we've got about 10 business projects. There's Monties Edu World, which is our biggest, an online school. So we started off just offering primary school, high school studies, and then now we're offering tertiary education as well. So we'll talk more about that. So there's Monties Digi World, where we're introducing the platform which is similar to Netflix, so it's called Monties Phone Flix. We've got Monties Diaspora Connect, a platform that helps people in the diaspora who want services this side, so we procure goods and services for them. We've got Montague Collection, which is on the fashion side. So we only sell denim, denim shoes, jeans, jackets, caps, backpacks, anything that's just denim. That's what we sell. We've got Monties Entertainment, obviously, because, from my music background, my acting background, so we are organizing performances and managing some artists as well. We've got Monties Media, where we do, audio production, video production, and animation as well, 2D and 3D. We've done stuff for a lot of TV stations. In fact, we're the company that, produced the first ever Shona cartoon for Zimbabwe. It's called Prazra Signoro.
I remember that.
We've got more for, we're organizing the first ever Music World Cup. So we've been pushing that ever since, I think, from 2011. The first one is going to be in 2024, but we've done trial runs already in 2015. So there's a lot happening under our sleeve.
How is technology enabling you to run a company of that magnitude? 10 projects within an umbrella. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of moving parts, a lot of employees, a lot of various things. How is technology assisting in you managing a business empire of that size?
Okay, so I'll start off with how we started. For about 2 years, I was running a home office, and we were working online. So what I did is that I advertised, I got employees, we started working online. I never met these people. I think I was sharing that I only met some of them about 2 years later, but every month we would wire each other our salaries. Would give each other tasks, and we're working online via some platforms like Microsoft Teams and Zoom and things like that. So that was then. As a small business, it helped me because it cut down costs on rentals, it cut down costs on office furniture and things like that. So at least it gave me somewhere to start off from. Right now I'm operating from Joiner City. That's where our offices are. But now, you see, when I started, I'll give you an example of the online school. The vice chancellor is in China. Her name is Beryl Clark. The head of deans is in South Africa, right? He's Mr. Osei, is originally from Ghana. So I've got head of departments, firstly at continental level. So we have head of Africa, head of Europe, head of North America, Asia, and things like that. Now, it's easy for me to interact with these people because we do it online. Right, and everything is facilitated online. We conduct lessons, everything is done. We even do trainings. We even with the other businesses, I get maybe a client from the United States asking something that they want from us, and we assist them. It's easy that way, and everything is done online. So you see that the first thing that technology did for us is that it cut down on the number of employees which I needed. So instead of having a lot of employees, I have a lot of software that I use. A lot of my businesses are online based, right? So you see that we've got a lot of shopping platforms. I think we've got about 7 shopping platforms. We've got 8 different websites that are running. And in all these key areas, there are people that are there. So we use a hybrid system where some people work online, but some work from the office.
Right. And people got used to working from home. Companies had to adapt to people not being there physically. Post lockdowns, where now people can move around, some companies have chosen to maintain that model. Like you're saying about a hybrid, some might come in the office a couple of days a week. Others might separate teams that come into the office versus those that work virtually. How far are we along accepting and understanding that the way of doing business is shifting?
I think that generally takes time. Change takes time. People are accustomed to maybe coming to an office and seeing people. So I think whenever change is coming, you have to take into consideration people like that who take time to adapt, and then people who actually understand that this can be done. I don't need to meet people, physically. So I think we are at a time where, as businesses, you have to have a business model that embraces both both demographics, people who allow that and people who are not comfortable with that, and then have provisions for them to come to the office if they need to, but then also give them a taste of how technology can make life very easy for them. Little by little, until they begin to understand it. I remember when I was producing content for TV stations, and I would say that, look, yes, we're a small team of 9 people, but we can actually produce an entire season, an animated season for them. Now, they were used to having a big team, 50 plus people working on a cartoon, right? But because we invested in a lot of software, very expensive, yes, but it was necessary because now we cut down the number of people we needed to just 9, and we're able to do that.